With the press of a button, the newest FWA exclusive is about to begin. In a somewhat unusual fashion, the video starts off with a city skyline. What's so odd about the horizon, you ask? It's made entirely out of Lego bricks. The amount of detail and care put into the city is rather impressive. The streets have their signs, cars are neatly parked near the sidewalks, small Lego villages are smiling and waving as they pass each other down the road. A happy little city, it certainly is, or at least it was. As the camera continues to examine every last detail of the metropolis, a rough voice begins to monologue. This is my city. The tone of the voice is an almost comically exaggerated range, nearly too masculine and deep. When I was young, my parents were taken from me. It says with much manly sorrow, it was then I knew what I had to do.
Hello and welcome to the latest, I believe 15th, but who's counting by this stage, edition of the unofficial Untitled FWA podcast. It's me, your boy SS, and I'm joined as usual by Man. Good evening, Man.
Hello, I'm back. The view counts will be up again. Hello.
Yeah, we'll go up from 6 to 7.
Oh yeah, baby.
And I'm also joined by that classic pairing, the Brett and Sean of 2023 FWA. I am, of course, talking about T-Beds, Tommy Bedlam, and Tony Two Belts, CBK. Nice to have you with us tonight, guys.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Of course. And I think it's second or third appearance, Tony, second appearance for Tommy. Tonight's agenda is to discuss the recent shows in the FWA, the King of the Deathmatch, the Grand March, and the Carnal Contendership. Obviously, King of the Deathmatch and the Grand March, not particularly as recent as Carnal Contendership, but we'll try and remember some of that during this. So we'll start talking about the King of the Deathmatch, which was obviously won by Cornelius Aurelius Caesar, dethroning Aleister Black to become the new FWA champion with his FWA ex-champion with his promo, where tag team partner Stu Grimes finds a tome penned by Caesar retelling King of the Deathmatch intercut with tales from ancient Rome. Pippin Jeffrey to the win, who was thrust into the tournament by Tyler after his adventurous ode to Rush. Cleo channeled Arthur Miller for the trial of Cleo DeSantos. Jeremy Best had an emotional drama about young Best and his father. We saw Violet weigh in on the Crash, Jeremy and Alistair storyline. Una had a startling office drone kind of parallel universe. Trixie entered the Hunger Games, and Reagan Cole gave us some self-reflection on his moral qualities as usual. Def Walker continued his travails through the underworld of SoCal, whilst Madison Gray was reborn as the Parasite. Jason Randall explained why he was tailor-made for KODM. Anzu explored life in the Arctic, and of course Dan Maskell explained his absence and pledged his allegiance to the flag. So that is a little rundown there of the King of the Deathmatch entrance, which was won by Caesar, of course. And I'll come to you first, Man, for your opinions on the batch of promos that we had for that show.
So I think it was a very strong showing, as we've come to expect from these kind of tournaments, and where there's a lot of people involved. The grading process was very tough, and I think my winner changed. I think it changed about 5 times, I think, on the grading sheet as I was kind of going through and then weighing them all up against each other. I think, at different times, I think I had Best winning at one point, Violet, Mason, then ultimately, I think, landing on Caesar, and I think Cleo was in the mix as well for me at some point. Lots of different approaches taken by everyone. Lots of good work, and and I think it all kind of came together in what proved to be quite an unpredictable tournament. I think for those who had seen the promos that were public, and then obviously we did get the few surprises in as well. So everyone did a great job.
3 of the 4 semi-finalists were surprise promos, including Dustin's first promo in the Fed with like a sublime effort. as I said, an ode to the band Rush. Allegedly, you had to tell me that, of course, beforehand. But yeah, and yeah, second place finish, obviously very, very impressive, and a very good final between him and Caesar, but not allowing it to kind of end without his name in the limelight. We obviously saw Sean Summers appear right at the very end of the show. Tony's just muted there, so I think maybe he's going to stay magnanimous. Oh no, he's back. So yeah, Sean Summers showing up at the end of the show to set up a date for Carnal Contendership. Tony, give us your thoughts on the show, on King of the Deathmatch, and the surprise ending we saw with Sean Summers.
Yeah, man. So I thought it because I got to redo a live read. You know, that's the only way that I'll actually read the shows is if everybody reads them with me. But like during the live read, I was really impressed. I thought you guys really do a really good job of basically making the setting feel kind of like, you know, the world's most dangerous game. I don't know if you read that book or whatnot, but it kind of always gives me that vibe for the last 2 years when we've done this. And I just thought that the matches were really written really well. That main event, you know, Watch Party Gang, my boys, getting to see both of them as surprise entrants as the finals, that was just the tops. And then getting to read that moment. And, you know, at the whole time, I'm like, I don't know which one I want to win. You know, my boy Oz, and we got Dustin here. And I was like, fuck. But, like, you know, in the end, both of them put out some quality promos. Well, I was shocked because I've never gotten to read anything Dustin's done, and then boom, this motherfucker just comes out with some heat. It was scared that he actually decides, yo, let me go ahead and do this, because there goes my belts. But I was happy my boy Oz picked up the victory, but in true heel fashion, because everybody knows, you know, Sean Summers, comeback kid, most hated person in the whole entire Fed, might as well up the ante and show up there like Seto Kaiba out of Yu-Gi-Oh! And with my Uncle Roo and let him know, yo, you know, just because you won doesn't mean that you're the winner. The real winner is the one who walks out of Carnal Contendership with the belt. And, you know, it didn't matter who won the tournament. As I said, I think I said it in the Discord, I originally thought that Raw was going to win, and it was going to set up a finale for Sean Summers and Aleister Black. We're both 1-1 against each other. It's like, all right, let's make that happen. But that didn't end up happening, as we saw. And, well, you know, now you got Tony 2 belts to deal with.
Somebody stop this man. Somebody stop this man. Who's going to step up and stop this man, actually? Who's going to put an end to this reign of terror? That's what I want to know. Tommy Bedlam. I'll come to you now.
Sold his soul and still couldn't stop the reign.
All right, we'll get to that. So we'll move on to the actually, before we move on to the Grand March, quick shout out to Violet, Una, and Trixie, who have 3 very good promos in the quarterfinals. Una in particular, very different, I think, to what we used to see from Una, and it was it was, as I said in the intro, it's a very startling promo from Una, and definitely top cross stuff. So moving on to the Grand March, we opened up with Eternal newcomers, Princess Nova and Kerry's took a Lizzie, buried within inverted commas, for a tour of the Torn universe and some of its inhabitants, ostensibly figures from Eternal's past, while Joe Burr was sent on a Mario-inspired adventure to save the princess and battle 2 familiar-ish adversaries along the way. Tommy, what did you think of this matchup? We saw Joe Burr and Lizzie Rose come out with the win here. Any thoughts on that?
The Mario themed promo was one of the most outside the box original things that I've seen since I joined up here. Like, when I started reading it, I was thinking, is he seriously going to do this whole promo in a game of Mario? And I mean, he did, and it was done remarkably well. And I was really into the Mario theme.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I think it was definitely not a retread of the Pokemon promo that Man did a while back, but a similar kind of vein, you know, like a video game inspired promo, but definitely had its own merits as well.
And I'll open me on the fact I'm way more of a Mario guy than I ever was a Pokemon guy. So.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well,
That's anything Nintendo.
I only like Gen 1 Mario. I don't like Gen 2 or 3 Mario. But yeah,
you're not a Wario guy.
So man, how did that promo come about?
So that promo came about mainly through. So obviously, I was mainly preoccupied elsewhere on the card. So this was AON's idea. He gets full credit for the whole idea. So I think it lends quite well to the concept of what's going on with that kind of group of characters at the moment, where you've got Eternal trying to take Lizzie away basically, and Joe is doing everything he can to save her. And I think the end of the promo cast a bit of doubt in the fact that actually he might not be able to, even if he's able to storm the castle or whatever, but he just might not be good enough or strong enough to stop them. And I think as the storyline has progressed already since that's proven to be a bit true. Very glad we got the win, obviously. Was a lot of fun writing the promo, again, just because of the subject material and yeah, it's no secret I like video games, so that kind of thing coming in was fun. But reading the two, I was a bit unsure because the Eternal promo was obviously very good, and it did come close. I think it was 2-1 in the end, so it wasn't a runaway victory for us by any stretch. So it was a fun promo. It's been fun kind of being involved in this storyline on the periphery, and hopefully Joe's got a bit more to do in it.
Yeah, hopefully. I saw some big ideas in the little chat there, but yeah, we'll see how that progresses. Yeah, it was 2-1. I had Eternal winning. They were both good promos. The Bird Rose promo definitely probably more a fun promo, but I think I preferred the Eternal one just slightly. Tony, any thoughts on this match? No? Okay, moving on. So next we had Mike Parr examining his relationship with the North American Championship, concluding that he doesn't want to only be associated with this belt whilst balancing that against his position in this number one contendership match, whilst Jackson Phoenix headed to the course for an extended golf pun, whilst he converses with tag partner Nate Savage about Prodigy's skills and deficiencies. We saw Mike Parr getting the win here. I think both good promos. The Jackson Phoenix promo was a lot of fun. Jimmy obviously splitting his time between Phoenix and Randall in the King of the Death match. But I think Parr a worthy winner here is another interesting promo from Parr, and he's really on a roll now at 3-0 since his return. Yeah, so Tony, what about your boy Mike Parr and this path to back in business that he's embarking on?
I think he should just give up on it, Just give up. There's like really no point in really chasing after the North American Championship because it's about to change hands anyway. Sorry about the beeping in the background, by the way. But no, in all seriousness, so as you know, your boy didn't get a chance to read the promos. However, I did get to read the match, and the match, great shit. But I'm always going to be rooting for Mike Parr because me and him have we bonded over that whole entire year of a storyline with Sean Summers and Parr. But Jimmy King is out here putting in work, and I'm glad he's getting his flowers. Nate Savage, Jackson Phoenix, just all his characters that he's working with. It just seems like he's really gotten that hold of them and is really starting to put it out there that people are like, I remember he did that Gatekeeper promo. I think that was the promo where he kind of like basically was like, I'm just not somebody to be to roll over. I'm actually a threat. And well, we saw from Golden Hop, which we'll talk about later, but Jimmy King is that dude, and I'm just happy that he's getting his flowers now.
Yeah, for sure. Jimmy's a very clean writer as well. He's always always like one of the better presentation scores of the week just by being so clean. But yeah, Tommy, any thoughts on Phoenix Parr?
Loved the match. There was actually one point towards the end there where Phoenix was working Parr's leg and everything, and then he goes into the figure four, and in that moment, I thought Phoenix was going to do it, which I don't remember offhand who wrote the match or anything like that. But when you can bait a reader in to thinking, oh my God, this is going to be the end of it, and yeah, Jimmy absolutely kills it with all his characters, and I loved his golf promo on that. It seemed so simple and obvious, but then he pulled it off so perfect for that character. But like, you know, it felt all the way through, and even in the promos leading up to it, that, you know, obviously Phoenix was the underdog. And all this stuff. And then when I'm reading the part where he's got him in the figure four, I'm like, oh my God, this is really going to be it. So.
Yeah, and given the run that Jimmy was on, it maybe wouldn't have even been wouldn't have been such even a surprise if Phoenix pulled that off. But
no, not at all. He's been so, I think he's leveled up, kind of, especially with Jackson Phoenix lately. The shift that character's gone through, you know, the trying to be a nice guy after being, you know, the cocky dickhead heel for so long.
Yeah,
you know, it's been a very refreshing change, and I think, you know, he's definitely finding his feet with that side of the character, and, you know, you're seeing it in kind of, you know, gradual increases in promo scores and everything like that. You know, he's definitely onto something good there, and, you know, with what's coming up, like Tony said, you know, he could be finding some really good form at a really good time.
Okay, so moving on from number one contendership for the North American title to the North American title itself, soon to be. I think we just lost Tommy Bedlam, but maybe he'll return. So yeah, soon to be in the hands of Sean Summers allegedly, but for now, still held by Brian Baxter. And here we saw office drone Brian Baxter, different office to Una, obviously. Decided that it's about time he got promoted and made some buck. He sees off the rest of the field through general skullduggery and strengthening his stranglehold on the North American manager position, whilst Conchu Howe unveiled himself amidst elegant zombies with a penchant for ballroom dancing, explained his beef with beefy Brian Baxter, and marched into Chicago for this surprise showdown. So two more very good promos. I think Baxter kind of took this on creativity, probably was the main area where he superseded Conchu, but it was definitely nice to see Howe back in the mix as well, with a very fun promo that translated into his entrance in the event as well. It's Man that we've lost, sorry, not Tommy.
Man is having laptop problems, so it won't turn back on.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll come to you, Tommy, here about those two promos with Baxter and Conchu, or the match itself. Any thoughts on the North American division in general at the moment?
Well, the Baxter promo going into that was actually one that I had made a note when I was going through and kind of prepping and reading all these when we were going to try to record this before. The Baxter promo was definitely one of my favorites from this cycle. Like, it was in my top, you know, probably 3 or 4 out of the ones that we read. I just really enjoyed everything he did.
Yeah, it was an excellent promo, and like the fact that he produced that Baxter promo alongside the Jeremy Best promo is like mind-boggling that he's doing 2 promos of that quality in the same cycle. Tony, any thoughts on Baxter in general, or that specific match where he defeated Conchu?
Yeah, man. So I just think, first of all, Dub is like a phenomenal writer, right? And I think I kind of like let that go by the wayside for a little bit, because I was just like, oh, you know, Jeremy Best, I read a couple of those promos. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I get the gist of it. But then I started reading his Baxter promos, and I mean, you know, cover your ears, kids, but like, I'm sucking his dick because I'm like, yo, these things are great. This dude is killing it. And like, I can't get enough of like what he's doing with this character. He makes me his whole entire run currently, just Baxter, Best, Dub is basically putting it out there. Like, he's giving me a run for my money for heel of the year, and he isn't even being a heel in real life. So like, that makes it even better. But the other thing I want to also point out there, because Conchu Howe, I think, is one of my favorite I don't want to call him a side character because he's not. He's definitely a main character who has his own path outside of Cyrus Truth. But one of my favorite side projects that someone has came up with and has really struck gold with, and it was a surprise when that was announced that was going to be the opponent. You asked about, I know you asked Tommy about his thoughts on the North American division. Uh-oh, looks like we lost man again. But I'm gonna throw my thought out there because I'm opinionated. I think the North American division is being overshadowed. It seems like it's a small pool of people, but it's because we have so many people who are like at that level of being world title competitors. But I would love to see more in that division to be more saturated with more people in there, because I feel like as good as Dub is, and I feel like he hasn't had that big of a challenge like Aleister Black was facing, or I guess since Sean Summers is the TV champion right now, but that TV division is kind of heating up. But I just feel like in that world title division is unnecessarily strong. But I feel like the North American division, out of all of them, it's just that one where it's kind of just like we need that feud in there to really make that belt what it used to be for a little bit. Not saying that it's anything bad or anything like that, because like I said, it's great shit, or as Vince, it's such good shit. But I just feel like that North American division, and I feel like that story is about to happen. I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, hopefully we get it with Baxter Parr. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we get.
That, and then I feel like there's going to be something else there, but I'll save that for the end.
Okay, exciting. Okay, then the next match we had the money match, of course, the semi-main event. We had Sean Summers visiting Sweetwater to dig up some rather interesting nuggets of information regarding Tommy Bedlam's recent past that may shed light on some of the on-screen goings on in the FWA, whilst channeling his inner private detective in an elaborate opponent character study. Whereas Tommy Bedlam dances with the devil, who in himself is only slightly more devilish than his Grand March opponent, and after much discussion about whether such an act lies within the boundaries of his morals, sells his soul in exchange for, well, who knows exactly what yet. So yeah, what a feud. Very short-lived, really. It was only 4 shows that this was built up over, but it was probably one of the hotter feuds going into the Grand March. So we'll come to Tommy first on this one. Any thoughts on how this match turned out?
When I read the Summers promo, and he's like snooping all over Texas trying to find dirt on Tommy, I was like, God, Toggety's got me. So totally agreed with the result. But I guess it's softened the blow a bit because we know the behind the scenes conversations and how this feud's going to kind of keep going and keep progressing. I really did write the promo from a place of thinking, for me as a handler, okay, I've got to try to do something that I haven't done yet. I've got to try to do something to take my game as a handler to the next level, because Summers has been on a freaking tear for so long. And so I was just sitting down spitballing it, and I'm like, what would Tommy the character be doing as opposed to Tommy the handler? What would it look like to go beyond what he ever thought about doing? And selling his soul to Satan just seemed like a logical next step.
Yeah, I can see that. Tony, any thoughts on this feud so far, or what's to come?
Yeah, I've been waiting for so long to talk to Tommy about this. So Tommy Bedlam sells his soul to beat Sean Summers. And when I read that promo, I said, this motherfucker, he's good. Because I would have never thought of that. But also I was like, Sean Summers is never worth it. Selling your soul to the devil, that's bananas. So, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm about to almost take this over. Tommy, walk me through this. So he sells his soul to the devil. Yeah, you see, they're interchangeable. Sean Summers.
Same thing. Yeah.
He sold the soul to the devil. Okay. Did Tommy even, like, I read the promo and I'm still trying to figure it out. Tommy's got a whole baby mom. He's got a baby on the way. He's got his family. Tommy, I mean, I almost want to put it out there. Tommy is hella selfish for this because you're selling your soul to beat somebody, but like you got a family. So now what? The devil owns your soul. Where does Tommy go from here?
Well, there was a whole part during the negotiation conversation between Tommy and Lucian, and the whole thing came up of him saying, you know, I don't want to be this soulless bastard. I don't want to be this horrible asshole. I've got a woman. I've got a kid on the way. And, you know, Lucian basically comes back with, oh, you don't have to be a horrible person to do this. And there is something that I have planned for the next phase of that. But basically it is essentially, yeah, does this set up for a future Tommy heel turn? Obviously, this is the first time I've ever been a face in an EFED.
Oh, shit.
I've never wanted to be a face. When I came back from my break, it just kind of made sense. But so yeah, later on, can we revisit this when there's an inevitable heel turn? Absolutely. But yeah, I purposely tried to present it in a way where this doesn't turn Tommy into a deadbeat dad and an absentee father like he had. And it doesn't make him want to go out and cheat on Randy or do any of that stuff. And Lucian painted it to him in a way where, no, you can still do all that stuff. And that's why I brought in some celebrities who had allegedly sold their soul. People like, you know, John Lennon. By all means, widely considered one of the most beloved musicians of all time. So,
yeah, Tommy Bedlam is definitely going to be a heel because you selling your soul to the devil, man. That's some shit. Now, if he would have won, I would have been like, yo, man, hey, yo, I got a couple souls you can have for yourself. But I was like, oh, man. But
well, I mean, ideally, I would have won the match.
Well, here's the thing, and then here's something that I think you could actually work with. You sold your soul, right, to win the match, and you did.
Yeah, he won the match. Yeah, he won by
decision, right? Yeah. So there's so much, and that was something I really was like his facing Sean Summers. I mean, contrary to what you all may think, I actually want Sean Summers to lose because he's a shitty person deep down, and everybody needs a heel to get beat up. You know, you want to see that person get his ass kicked, but so I want to always like when I'm working with somebody, I'm always kind of just like, you know, you can beat the shit out of Sean Summers, you know, make him cry. We got plans for that, like, you know. And I felt like I wanted Tommy Bedlam to still get that, you know, Sean Summers should still be an asshole, but Tommy Bedlam to still come out of that looking clean because there's more to it. Yeah, of course, dude.
As a handler, I appreciated you're the one who suggested actually if Summers is going to retain, let's do it by DQ, and I did appreciate that.
Yeah, it's shit like that works. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's perfect as well. Like the devil promises you a win, and then in the end, it's like some measly DQ win that doesn't even get you the title. It's almost perfect, really. But yeah, man, any thoughts on how this match shook out?
I'm just glad to be back because my laptop's kicked me out like 4 times in the last.
Perfect timing. Okay, so moving on to the main event then. So we had I was gonna do a whole bit here, but Man's not here to enjoy it, so I won't do the bit. So we had MVH against Truth against Chris Peacock in the main event. We had the Exile visiting one of his many shadowy friends for a glimpse of different futures, where each of his opponents emerged victorious in the Grand March's main event before waxing lyrical in the vitriolic way that only Cyrus Truth can. Whilst Chris Peacock's earlobe is infiltrated by an ill-tempered and miniaturized Cyrus standing, demanding recompense for his fallen planet, leading Peacock through a series of interludes relating to the history of his other opponents. So we had 3 promos for the main event there. Chris Peacock retaining, and we can't even talk to the champion here because he's having laptop issues. But yeah, what do you guys think of the main event and how it went down at the Grand March?
I will say I loved your breaking fourth wall promo on that. Like I've been in feds where people break the fourth wall and try to peel back the curtain and all this stuff. And a lot of times it comes across as this really forced, cheesy, really weak ass promo. But yeah, I really enjoyed the whole Shelby and behind the scenes and like the conversations at the gorilla position and all that. I thought that was very clever.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, it was a loser promo, unfortunately, but I appreciate
Well, hey,
it.
sometimes you shoot your best shot and you win by DQ.
Well, that would have been nice, actually. That would have been nice. But Peacock's promo was pretty good as well. Here he's back again. I was just saying how terrible the Peacock promo was and how he deserved to win. But yeah, now you're back, man. Congratulations on your victory in the main event. Any thoughts on how the main event went down?
Yeah, no, thank you, mate. It was a very stressful couple of days, I think, waiting for those results to come in. And I am definitely looking, in a way, when this whole Peacock World Champion run's done, going back to my silly mid-card stuff. I think all three promos were very, very good. I mean, I should say so myself. But I think I was very pleased with what I was able to put out, and then I think we all took very different approaches. Yours in particular, SS, with the whole kayfabe being shattered aspect, I think was a very, very unique approach that I don't think I've seen anything like that before. And Cyrus's as well, kind of, the question that he's been asking himself a lot lately, is Cyrus Truth still the guy and all that. I think the approaches were all different, which must have made it very hard for the graders. Very pleased to come away with it. I know that Cyrus, I think, was the people's choice. So if either one of us was the one that came away, there was going to be something going on. But pleased that it's kind of this run's rolling on, and looking forward to the challenges that come next. And I think knowing the matches I've got coming up, it's going to be a pretty bumpy road.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess we'll speak about that pretty soon. But before we move on to the next show, Tommy. So Sean Summers is coming to Sweetwater for dinner and try and patch things up with Tommy Bedlam.
Yeah.
What are you serving him? Where's it going down? Who else is at the dinner?
What are we serving him? He'll have his own designated plate, and no one else should eat from it. Not that Tommy has ever harmed another human being. But,
no.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. That's an important word. We really need to nail that down.
Yeah, I think we should steer away from that word.
So Tony, same question. Tommy's coming up to California. What's Sean Summers cooking up for him in an attempt to kind of smooth things over after the bumpy start that they've had to their relationship?
Probably give him a steak, probably a little red, some asparagus, Sean Summers throwing out the whole red carpet just to let Tommy know that, no hard feelings, man. I'm just a better guy.
Nice. If he's serving asparagus, his new signature should be the asparagus spear, I think.
Oh, there we go.
Fucking hell. Jesus.
Because Tommy really looks like the kind of guy that just sits down and eats asparagus.
Sean Summers is turning you into a classy guy. Come on.
Right. So when this feud obviously rumbles on, which surely it will. Right. So the big payoff, if you had to choose stipulation or gimmick right now off the top of your head for the payoff for this feud, what would you go for?
I'll take a bull rope match.
Bull rope match. Okay.
Yeah. Strap them together. The only way to win. Pin, submission, or knockout. None of this touching the four corners, playing tag.
Okay.
All that. We strap these two some bitches together, and we just let them fight till one of them can't fight.
Watch Tony come up with something even more convoluted than the 3 strikes match from last year. What you say, Tony?
Oh, man. Try writing that match. I was like, oh my God. I guess I love Bret Hart, old school. So I'm gonna be like, let's do a steel cage. I feel like that doesn't happen in FWA like at all. So I'd be like, let's do a steel cage and make it pinfall submission only, no ring, no escape, all that good shit.
Yeah, okay. Well, both would be. Maybe a steel cage bull rope match would be. Would be
There you go.
Barbarian.
You have to touch all 4 top corners of the cage.
Didn't you hear, Tommy? We ain't playing none of that tag stuff.
All right, you have to knock someone out on all 4 corners.
Yes. Somebody's face has to get bounced off all 4 corners of the cage.
There you go. And there'll be lights and they'll turn green once you've done it, so you know.
Okay. Then we do a Judy Bagwell on a forklift, man. Sorry.
Judy Bedlam on a forklift.
Right, I think we're going to wrap that up there. So before we move on to a quick discussion of the carnal contendership, I'm going to throw it over to future me tomorrow night, who has a few words now with our favourite Liverpudlian, Gip, in regards to the ongoing fantasy tournament. Over to you in the studio, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Joe. I am indeed joined in Studio B here with Gip, who's here to discuss the fantasy competition, which is ongoing. Hello, Gip. Good evening.
Help me.
Well, that's very cool. I think that's also the collective sigh of the podcast audience there. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're going to whiz through a top 4 in the rankings in terms of characters for the fantasy league, a dream team, if you will, for the competition. So, Gip, if you'd like to reveal who came, well, I'm looking at the standings here, and it's actually 2 people in joint third. So, who are the first 2 people in this illustrious dream team?
First off, fucking finally I done goddamn podcast. I fucking swear to God. It's been how many fucking episodes? Right. Anyway.
Well, I think part of the reason for that is how abrasive you are. I mean, not many hosts like to get attacked verbally like that at the start of the segment, but there you are. I put up with it because I'm selfless in my endeavors here. So, anyway, on with the show. Who are the first 2 entries into the?
I'm not abrasive at all. Go fuck yourself. Alright. Let's go. At number 3. For 14 points, Alistair Black and Weasel Person.
Alistair Black and Weasel Person at number 4 and number 3. Weasel Person, strong showing now with victories over Logan Darwin. Strong showing in the carnal contendership and King of the Deathmatch as well. Surprising to see Weasel Person on 14, to be honest, with only 3 matches. But there you are.
That's the power of this carnal contendership.
Okay. So okay. So people who did very well in the carnal contendership scored a lot of points.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. The winner got 10 points, and then there was 9, 8, 7. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So what about Alex? What about Alistair Black then? How did he get 14? This because he obviously didn't feature highly in the carnal contendership, but
I mean, he did.
Oh shit! Yeah, he did a surprise. You know, I completely forgot that we had the surprise contendership, Alistair Black. I'm getting my years mixed up. I'm going a year back in time.
Hold on.
We can edit that out. Gip.
No, fuck you. I'm keeping it in.
All right.
That's
Okay.
the reason. You keep this in.
So,
Only edit out my mistakes.
so another tie for first and second. Who do we have here?
We don't want to talk about what Alistair Black. Okay. Fuck Alistair Black.
You can if you want, Gip. You can if you want, Gip. This is great radio so far. Great radio.
I provide chaos. What were you expecting by this? It's why you didn't put me and Tommy in the same pod.
Okay. Well, there's many reasons why we didn't put you in the same pod, but there you are. I mean, I'm struggling through this ordeal. I wouldn't want to put that on Tommy or anyone else. But yeah, okay. So number 1 and number 2, please, in the dream team.
All right. Going to number 2, Cyrus Truth. And And then up the top, at the very top, coming in as Caesar with a
Okay.
good old 16 points. Yeah, both with 16
I
points.
think both of them were 16 points actually, so
Yeah.
I'm having a tie for
Both
first
of
and
them.
second. So Cyrus obviously getting that jump thanks to his
Oh,
win
fuck.
at the Carnal Contendership.
Yes.
And
Let's
the
see.
main event obviously at Grand March as well. Caesar winning at King of the Deathmatch, I guess, got quite a long run there with multiple wins to amass quite a lot of points. So
And
quite
then-
interesting. The dream team there: Caesar, Cyrus, Weasel Person, Alistair Black. Right, so this is PG-13. This podcast, by the way. Watch your language, please. So,
You can't on a PG-13 podcast.
on to the standings then, rolling swiftly on. So I believe Gip, you wanna read out the full standings here. So how many teams have we got? Eight teams.
Yep.
All right, okay. So in number 8 we have
Coming number 7 actually, because there was a tie somewhere.
okay.
So just number 7. I can't fucking say it. Haster's Nibblings from John.
Okay,
Plus-
Haster siblings in number 7.
Yep.
Okay, how many points? How many points?
This is fucking scroll up and down. Plus 20 points. Go around 20 points. Of course, John had the team of Midnight Mustang, Sunrise Stallion, Trixie, and What in My Kitchen.
Okay.
With the early
Okay,
edition of Weasel Person.
I'm guessing you're illustrating his team to explain why he's in last position, but we don't need to do the teams for everyone. Everyone knows who they've got in. Everyone knows who they've got.
Maybe I want it.
Okay, so the other person in joint 7, other than
What?
okay, so the tie isn't for 7th. Okay, all right.
No.
So John is still in 8th then. Okay, we don't. So it doesn't work like that. So John is still in 8th. So the next person up in 7th is.
What time won't work? It's my league.
Okay. The next one.
Let's just try and move this on as quickly as possible. I love it. All right, coming in number 6, JST on Tig with 21 points.
Okay, so Tig is in 7th place there in the fancy rankings. Very good. And next after Tig we have
Coming in number 5, Paul Quietly. I don't know if that's his official name. He never gave me official name, so I just gave him that. Coming in with 22 points.
okay. Who's that? Sorry,
Paul.
Pa's team. Okay.
Paul Quietly.
And then next up in 5th, rounding out the bottom half.
Well, I wouldn't say rounding off the bottom half, but for sure.
Well, we've had three so far, right? And there's 8 in total. So rounding off.
It's the best. You know, it's the best low hop. Let's put it like that. It's Coal Masters. So with good old 23 points.
Okay. Is that your
4th?
Is that your team? Your team.
Maybe.
Okay, in 5th place then. 5th place. Just outside the Champions League slots. Not a bad effort. Is this the end of the season, by the way, Gip, or is there more to come?
We're like halfway through.
Back in business.
Yeah.
So why are we even doing this? We're putting ourselves through this car crash.
No.
And we've got half a season to go.
You
Okay.
keep inviting me to shit.
Yeah, you should go. I'm
Are
4th
you
place.
regretting it yet?
And in 4th place into the top half.
And here comes the tie. Oh yeah. Good old Danger Zone by BB, and I have to shout this because it's in caps. Wall of Friendship.
Okay.
By Welsh.
Okay, so in joint 3rd then. In joint 3rd we have Welshie and BV. Okay, good stuff. I'm gonna do the repeat here, and I'm gonna do the bloody. I'm only gonna bloody repeat, Gift. Okay, in 2nd place we have.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, by the way, the tie got 25 points. Thanks for asking us. That's good.
Okay, 2nd place.
Coming in number 2nd, the J Appreciation Society. I try 9 points.
Whose team is that? Jay, I guess. Jay is the only person in the J Appreciation Society. And the winner, or the winner at this midpoint in the season, is your boy. Of course, it's your boy, Because he wins everything except for the world title of the Grand March. We're not going to talk about that. How many points, Skip? How many points has Daddy got?
I don't want to say.
How many have I got?
48.
48. I think so. Are you including Caesar in that? Because I don't think I drafted him until after King of the Deathmatch, did I?
No.
Okay, but I've still got 48.
You would have had more, but you decided to take on Phoenix.
Wow, how have I got 48? That's madness.
Yeah.
Truth. No, I must just have a shit hot team. Of course I do. Well, that's great news then, Gip. So, any more final words before we head back to the second half of the thing that people are actually here to listen to?
Oh, Eddie, I'm having so much fun.
Well, we'll have to get you on for
Oh.
a proper full show, but this is just a fantasy mini segment, of course. But maybe we'll have
Jeffrey a full episode, you coward.
I'd love to have Jeffrey on. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll speak to Jeffrey about that. All right, much love, Gib.
Don't want me on.
Thank you.
No,
Okay. All right, back to you in the studio, Joe. Thanks, Joe. That was a very entertaining segment there with Gip, I am sure. And moving on there to look at the Carnal Contendership, which happened 3 weeks after King of the Deathmatch and the Grand March. Kicking off with the Connection overcoming their 5th challengers in the form of the buddy system in a epic match, which Dub wrote, and the Connection coming out on top thanks to a vampire mockumentary promo. So yeah, I'll throw this over to you, man, seeing as you graded. Any thoughts on tag team title match?
I thought it was 2 very good promos. I think from 2 of I won't say the 2 top teams in the Fed at the moment. I'll say 2 of the top teams. Because there is another big team I think that wasn't part of that match.
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the team that's had 1 match in?
I'm talking about Stephen Ratton, clearly.
Okay, of course, yeah. My bad.
So, I think they're both very good promos. So I didn't actually grade because by the time I'd got around to being able to grade, the result was decided. But I did read. I think they were both very close. It was very close. The grades that were in kind of reflected that. The Bates Motel stuff that Dub did I thought was fantastic. Just perfectly plays into especially Jeremy. Now we're kind of looking at him in this different lens that he's not this really super friendly guy. He's now just this creep. That is obsessing over Crash the way he is. It's gone from endearing to terrifying. The way he's done it, and I think that choosing that subject matter to base a promo off kind of reflects that quite well. The Connection stuff, as always, was very good and very strong promo, and I'm not sure who it's going to be that that does take those titles off you guys eventually. Off you actually now.
Do you know who it's going to be? Almost definitely. Do you know who it's going to be?
Go on.
It's going to unfortunately be the slow passing of time and Thanatos, or death as we call him in our world. The only way I'm going to lose this title is when I'm 70 years old, or when my lungs go before then, which is possible.
Oh yeah, that's more than possible.
Maybe after I've had that Hall of Fame posthumous induction, then maybe one of you guys can take the titles off my grave or something.
Okay. We'll do that.
Speaking of graves, we move on to the Barbaric X return to the granary between Sean Summers and the recently crowned ex-champion Cornelius Aurelius Caesar. We had Cornelius going for Eid dinner, I believe, with Zera's family, and the father seemingly striking more than a passing resemblance to a certain founding father of the American states in my shortly comment on Sean Summers and his kind of contrasting ideology to Caesar. And then we had Mr. Presentation, Sean Summers, with his take on the Roman Senate and Sean Summers' attempt to overthrow Caesar and take kind of leadership of that over. So I will come to Tommy. Did you have a chance to read these promos, or what were your thoughts on Sean Summers' triumph if you didn't have a chance to?
I'm channeling my inner CBK here. Yeah, I didn't read the promos. I was traveling a lot last week and just never really got to sit down with them. I did read the matches, and I loved the spot with the 2 chairs and the pane of glass, and then more chairs and more glass. I thought that was like beyond what I was even expecting.
Yeah. How do you think the X Championship changes the complexion of your feud with Tony at all? That's to either Tommy or to Tony. I don't know.
Okay, I was going to defer to him on that one since.
Okay.
It kind of, I don't know. It makes things interesting, you know, man. Because Sean Summers wasn't supposed to be walking into this as 2 belts. It kind of came along at the last second. I think it's some shit you forgot that in the contract that Summers signed, it was like, yo, you get the title shot, and that's why if you remember back in Sean Summers' lawyers and all that shit, and they were like, everybody was like, oh, Sean Summers has the worst lawyers in the world. I don't want his lawyers, and people were giving recommendations for lawyers, but it's kind of like, nah, man, he had the best lawyers because he waited to the proper time, and he managed to get in his contract he can get a title shot at any champion. And he was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But it makes things tough because now Tommy is dealing with a distracted Sean Summers. And while Sean is distracted, it's also that makes it dangerous because he's trying to fight a battle on 2 fronts, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep both of those belts. So I think this is going to be bad for Tommy as far as leading up to whatever may happen between the 2.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've just got the contract up actually whilst you were talking, just wanted to verify it because I didn't even check. You could have said like anything. You could have said that like I promised to give you a blowy or something if you wouldn't.
Hey man, if I would have known that would have worked, I would have definitely said it.
0.6.4 if you're wondering. If the talent attains 5 wins in his 8 scheduled competitive appearances in the period of employment outlined above, he is entitled to a championship opportunity of his choosing at a time agreed.
I thought you were going to say he's entitled to a blowy.
And
if he wins 5 of 8 competitive matches,
no, it's a trombone, not a blowy. It says. All right, okay.
A mod of his choosing.
So we will move on, I think, to the main event, the Carnal Contendership match.
Ooh, baby.
30 entrants, but only 1 winner, and we saw Cyrus Truth winning his 2nd ever Carnal Contendership, becoming only the 2nd FWA character to do that after Wolf. Setting up a big back in business date with yourself, man, and Chris Peacock. What are your thoughts on Cyrus's win and the upcoming showdown between the Exile and the Dancing Fool?
I mean, I don't remember Chris Peacock being called the Exile, but I'm looking forward to it. Cyrus and I have already kind of had a preliminary chat about what we're going to be trying to do and where we're going to be taking both these guys. I think both have a big point to prove. Cyrus, I think, is pretty self-explanatory, I'd say, because it's him. He's been pining for this one-on-one opportunity for years now. The character that is, and now he's got it, and now it's fine. Can you deliver on that and show that you're still you're still the guy, or is this guy who is gonna, who showed up 2 years ago, is he definitively, even though there's the interesting point, where every time that Peacock and Cyrus have kind of been in the same ring as each other, Peacock has outdone him every single time. So he's got that. This is it's not so much that I would say, looking at the characters, I'm not talking about the writers here or the handlers at all, but the characters where Peacock's more the marker now for Cyrus rather than the other way around. Can he beat this guy who's just showed up out of nowhere and constantly got one over him? And as for Peacock, it's like, right, okay, that you've beaten MVH and Cyrus in one night. Now, can you prove that defending the title wasn't a fluke, basically? Which, because I think on paper, Peacock just shouldn't have won the Grand March. If you're looking at the characters and the abilities and the histories of all those characters
and the promos.
I mean, the graders would disagree. So I think for Peacock, there's the big growth thing of proving why he's the guy now. He's got to do it, and starting off with a match against Danny Toner is one way to kind of test himself and show that he's the guy. Because there's win or lose, the matches with Toner and the other ones that I've got coming up that I've already spoken to everyone involved about anyway. Even if they don't go all my way, there's something there. I've got something to do there with it, and and also gives me a chance to get some wins back in the future as well. So.
4 on the path to back in business.
It could happen. It genuinely could happen with the fuckers I'm going against. It genuinely could happen, and if it does, it does.
No, you got a no show win this week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, Tony, what were your thoughts on the Carnal Contendership promos? Did you have a winner? How many? Were you? I know you read the Weasel Person promo. Were you able to read any others?
Nope.
Nope, fair enough. So what were your thoughts on the Weasel Person promo? It's a logical follow-up question.
Yo, man, so Weasel Person promo was flawless. One of the, because I saw that whole discourse about it, and I was like, what? Let me go read this damn thing so I can figure out what's up. And then I read it, and I was just like, this is a masterpiece. The way he connected it, like where every little piece of it seemed like it was like intertwined with it. I just had the thought in my head about what movie it was. There was some movie that kind of did something similar like that, but it was and it was just great. And John's just a phenomenal writer. That dude gets out there and kills.
Like John is Weasel Person?
What?
Yeah, John's not involved. This is a Weasel Person.
1,000 pardons. 1,000 pardons.
A Weasel Person's name is John as well. It's a very, very common name. Come on.
John Smith, fantastic.
Did you think our John was the only John in the world? Like, come on.
Yes. The only John Bon Jovi, that's it.
Yeah, he's one of two that matters, the other being John Bon Jovi.
Yeah. No, but I think the cat's out of the bag or weasels out of the hat, whatever you want to call it. It was great. And then the way that ending came about, I was just like, oh man, this dude gets it. He knows how to write for so many characters to the point where each character feels unique and like something's, like they got this. You almost want to learn a little bit more about their back history. Like reading that promo when Weasel Person's on the phone talking to somebody, I was like, this is wild. What the hell is this Weasel talking to someone on the phone? And like, I was just imagining myself, like, walking down the street and seeing that. I was like, that's some crazy imagery. And then it gets flatlined by a freaking 18-wheeler. Like, this dude is unnecessarily talented. And probably needs to be checked out because who can think like that, for like 18 people? It was flawless. I was how many people?
30.
Yeah. 30? That's ridiculous. Yeah, it was 30. You're right. 1,000 pardons. But I was like, yo, man, if anybody's gonna be in the golden opportunity, it's this dude. And like he's just, fucking around, coming back for the fun of it at this point. And it's like, oh man, we're all screwed.
Yeah, I agree. There, it was a masterpiece. I think it was definitely the best promo that we've had this year, in my opinion. I agree with what you were saying about how it was all interlinking, like how each scene kind of ran into the next. Like it reminded me a little bit of like Monty Python's Flying Circus, which does that. Every sketch kind of goes into the next one, and there's obviously some comedic bents in this as well, similar to that. But also like the James Joyce stream of consciousness was style. So like to be able to like well, not evoke, because I'm not sure they were influences that John was going for, but to like to remind the reader of like two such disparate things is amazing in a single promo. Yeah, the promo just blew me away. I thought it was awesome. I was well, maybe not surprised that it didn't win. I can understand why maybe the graders didn't grade it so high on the rubric, but I thought it was like stunning, even on the character ones. You know, even though it is about all the different characters, we're always seeing that through the lens of like Kazadi's fifth dimensional travels, you know, through all of these different snippets. Yeah, and I just thought it was amazing. It was art. It was really good. Yeah, so well done to a Weasel person. Also great promos from Cyrus and also Alistair Black. Two amazing promos from them as well. Cyrus's kind of sojourn on the, I can't remember the Great Race, I think it was called, with a little cameo from Shannon, and then all of the different FWA kind of stand-ins as he makes his way to try and reclaim that for a second time in his career, and Alistair Black's promo as well. I was talking to DJ about this, about how sometimes Raw, well, he mentioned sometimes Raw's writing can have a real like Kafka-esque quality to it, and this promo and also a particular one against Devin Golden he did a year or so back, and which was set in an office, which I'm a big mark for that promo. But these two kind of have a very similar style almost in them. I loved Alistair Black's kind of almost inane cheeriness at his like his office kind of, you know, the people that he's co-inhabiting the office with at the start, which kind of gets, you know, peeled away as the promo goes along. But yeah, awesome stuff from all three. I only read those three promos, but yeah, I loved all three. Tommy, any thoughts on Cyrus's big win or any predictions for Back in Business?
I love the Cyrus win. Just in the whole, it's a character that I want to cheer for. It's a character that I want to support. And when I was reading the match and everything, and he came out at 30, it just, I don't know, in that moment, everything kind of felt right. It's one of those deals where a lot of times we have this natural inclination to not really cheer for the guy that comes out dead last. But I was pulling for him from the minute he showed up.
Yeah,
he did a lot better than the guy that came in last year.
I can't remember who that was. Oh,
yo, man! Shout out to you, because you're a little. I'm gonna have to have you and checked out too, because your little brain to think of that spot and how you did that last year. That was genius. I don't ever think that. There's not many times where I laugh at some shit that happened to my character that would be embarrassing. This dude. Yo, you put your whole mussy into the whole entire CC. You killed it, man.
Wow.
I loved it.
Mussy.
Okay, on that bombshell, I think we'll have just a quick fire question, and before we finish off, I'm going to come to each of you for one match that you'd love to see it Back in Business this year before we finish off. Tommy, I'll come to you first.
Okay. Honestly, I want to see the buddy system and the connection again, because I've enjoyed the tag match that much.
Okay. Tony?
I need to see Crash versus Jeremy Best. Need to see it happen. This is literally the perfect time to finally pull the trigger on it. I don't know how they're going to get there, but Dub, you listening to this? Crashy, you listening to this? Get there. because you two are like, this whole story is the craziest thing I've seen in the FWA in a long time. And we saw a dude literally get his chest carved in, but you'll never see that because it was redacted from everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but that's the match I'm looking forward to.
Okay, man.
Well, I've got the slight benefit of knowing which matches are going to be on the card.
But yeah, but you're not predicting. You're fantasy booking. What do you want to see?
For fantasy booking, so to do with the matches that you guys, I'd actually say Buddy System versus the Gangstars is what I would want, and then just thinking of some other stuff, something like a Conchu versus Deathwalker match would be pretty cool. And then, Weasel Person needs something cool to do with everything going on. And fuck it, I think it'd be funny putting Weasel Person in up against Toner. Toner's been chatting some shit lately, so I think Weasel Person should slap him about a bit. So, and then obviously Steve and Ratton in a 60-minute Iron Man match, which is going to be on the card.
Didn't they already do an Iron Man match?
They did 30.
You should fuck 60 minutes, do 60 seconds.
That's
Chuck
not
and
enough.
Trent already did it. Chuck and Trent.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
61-second Iron Man match.
My dream back in business match, I'm still hoping for that MVH and Nova versus Kabashi and Misawa dream tag match. So, maybe this is the year. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining me on this Wednesday evening, and thank you very much for listening to the show. We'll see you again soon. That's it. That's the end of the show. Bye.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Yo, I gotta tell you, my fucking shit, man. This fucking edible kicked in like right. And I'm like, fuck. Dude. I hope I wasn't rambling, but man.
No, you good. You good.
You need to tell Get to keep that in.